And welcome to our event. This is a Women's History Month event, Women in STEM, Know Your Career Options, co-sponsored by the Women's Center and the Commemoration Committee. I'm Michelle Leiden. I'm in the History and Political Science Department. I'm the chair of the Commemoration Committee. And the Commemoration Committee is an interdisciplinary group that recognizes and raises awareness and understanding of diverse groups, cultures, and histories through events recognizing days or months of remembrance. An emphasis is placed on hearing voices from the CCM community. Previous events were held for Hispanic Heritage Month, American Indian Heritage Month, and Black History Month. This event recognizes Women's History Month, and we also have another event planned for the end of this month, a virtual tour of the New York Historical Society exhibit Women March. And we also have a student poetry contest that is currently underway for Poetry Month in April. And that includes two $50 gift cards to the CCM bookstore as prizes for the winners. If you're interested in either of those events, please feel free to visit the social media that you can see on the screen, or feel free to email us at this account, commemoration@ccm.edu, for more information. The other co-sponsor of the event is the Women's Center, so I'm going to turn it over to Shannon Lengares of the Women's Center.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. I just want to, you can see there's a lot of information on the slide, but I just want to briefly go over what the Women's Center does. We are what's considered a displaced homemakers program. So we assist individuals who've been out of the workforce for many years or have been underemployed for many years, who have lost their primary source of income and need to re-enter the workforce to become financially and economically independent. You could see for more information, you can email us. I have the email up on the slide. You can call us. We also have a website on the CCM's webpage, and you can get connected with us through that site. Thank you.
Okay, and before we get to our featured speakers, I do just want to do a technical roundup. Most of us are accustomed to Zoom at this point, but just in case. So closed captioning is available for today's event or lecture. Click on the CC button for live transcription, and you can choose to hide or show those captions as needed. Everyone was muted on entry, and for the time being, you won't be able to unmute yourself, but we do want to hear from you. At the end, there will be a Q&A session. If you'd like to ask a question, simply write question in the chat box. Once prompted, you will be able to unmute yourself and ask your question. If you'd like to ask a question but don't want to unmute yourself, simply type your question in the chat box and we'll get to as many questions as possible in the time allotted. If you are here for class participation, please make sure you change your name to your full name. To change your name in Zoom, click on Participants, hover your mouse over your own name, and you should see More as an option. Click on that and you'll see Rename. And for the best viewing experience, especially for those speakers who are sharing slides, you may want to view the event in full screen speaker mode so that you can easily read any of those shared slides. So that is all introduction to help introduce you to the event, this Women's History Month event, Women in STEM, Know Your Career Options. And I'm very excited about the speakers that we have here with us today. Our first speaker is Alexandra Hoffmann. She's the Associate Director for the Center of Workforce Development at CCM. She built many trusting relationships based on the tools and techniques she teaches on. At the German American Chamber of Commerce, she facilitated certified Train the Teacher courses, which produced positive results for New Jersey businesses. Alexandra believes that the most important piece of organizational transformation is to continuously develop employee skills to master your organization's ability to conduct business. Alexandra holds dual degrees in business administration with a concentration in marketing and a BA in German from Montclair State University. So without further ado, Alexandra, and I'm going to go ahead and stop screen share so that Alexandra can share if she'd like.
Hi there, everyone, and thank you, Michelle. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen? All good, awesome. So as Michelle said, my career had started with the German American Chamber of Commerce, where I developed an apprenticeship program that was based on the German standard. So I'm very familiar with apprenticeship as it relates to advanced manufacturing. I developed also a mentorship program that's based off the German standard. It's called Train the Trainer. And now here at CCM, I'm doing a whole slew of things. However, apprenticeship really remains an aspect that I'm passionate about, and as well as ways to bridge skills gaps and developing individuals in their careers. So first of all, what is apprenticeship? So I have the definition up here. You can feel free to read along. However, a simplified version is it's really a way to advance your skills through a company. You're usually connected with an employer right in the beginning, and you're able to earn money while on the job, gaining those industry credentials, and also gaining an education and leading yourself into a pathway of success. So we all know how hard it is directly out of maybe you're entering your career directly out of college or directly out of high school. We know how hard it is to get a employer connection. So this is really a way to advance your career with a company, learn and gain experience while working on the job hand in hand with related technical instruction. So not only are there apprenticeships in advanced manufacturing, there's apprenticeships in a whole bunch of different pathways. Advanced manufacturing is just one of them, and one of the programs here at CCM we're really proud about. We also have apprenticeships in healthcare, IT, when you think of your general, electrician apprenticeships or contractor apprenticeships, there's many different opportunities for people to get involved in an apprenticeship. So advanced manufacturing, though, is specifically a great career path to gain these industry credentials and also maybe advance your career. And maybe you want to become an engineer or an electrical engineer. This is a really great pathway to gain those skills and sustainably. And we'll get into that a little bit later. So advanced manufacturing, I just really wanted to share a couple of photos of how advanced manufacturing has progressed, because I feel that when people think of advanced manufacturing, they think of these old smokestack images, the Industrial Revolution, those type of images. And I just want to clarify that advanced manufacturing has come a long way, and it's very advanced now in the name advanced manufacturing. So when I think of advanced manufacturing, and I visited many manufacturers in the area, and there are many advanced manufacturers in the area, we're talking now more computerized technologies. So Industry 4.0, if anyone has ever heard that term, or the fourth industrial revolution. It's the idea of smart factory design. This image quite literally explains Industry 4.0. This person is controlling the factory floor from that, iPad or controlling device. She is able to see the temperature of those machines. She's able to see when something might need replacing or configure specs of a new product. Industry 4.0 also allows for interconnectivity between certain machines. Industry 4.0 also allows us to make certain decisions based off what the machine is telling us or what that smart factory is telling us. And what's amazing about this is she can do that all from the touch of her iPad. It's very advanced, very futuristic. So this is where the industry is moving towards, and it's just an explanation of quite literally what we're moving towards with the smart factory designs. Another example would be collaborative robots. So I actually get to mess around with these machines firsthand. It's really interesting. You can touch the robot with your hand, and the robot will react to the way you're touching it, the way you're moving it, which is really cool. You can quite literally take the claw of this image and move it to touch the products. So they're very advanced, really cool. It's like actually, if you can imagine, it's just amazing what we're doing and what we're moving towards with these computerized machines. Controlling things from your laptop, that's another way that we can picture advanced manufacturing. Or maybe you're inspecting a product. There's many different career opportunities involved with advanced manufacturing. So maybe you might be producing something, maybe you might be part of the inspecting crew, maybe you might be a part of design. There are many, many truly different job opportunities within this career path. So why New Jersey? Now, New Jersey has a lot of benefits. We are, if you think about where we are location-wise, we're really connected with a lot of infrastructure assets. So you can reach 1/3 of the US population within a day's drive, which is very unique. We really have a unique way to connect globally in regards to nonstop flights, or where we are on the map. If you just picture it, we're also, you know, right across the Atlantic. You're connecting to Europe and, you know, all these different countries from New Jersey. We're also have the largest port on the East Coast, which is really fascinating and really amazing. That's why many people, or many manufacturers, choose New Jersey as their hub for operating. Now, we also have an unmatched advanced manufacturing ecosystem. So there's a really diverse population of manufacturers in New Jersey. So this map is just explaining where these manufacturers are. And you can see there's a lot. It's a rich, diverse ecosystem with over 2,500 advanced manufacturing firms in our area. So what that means also is there's a lot of opportunity for individuals to get involved. And that's why, you know, Governor Murphy is really making this a huge initiative in his time in the New Jersey office. So he really has a progressive growth plan. There are a lot of grant opportunities to promote scholarships for individuals interested in apprenticeship in advanced manufacturing. There's really a lot of things that are promoting career paths here. We truly do have a diverse population. So this is a great statistic that I'm really happy about, and happy to see that 36% is the female share of advanced manufacturing workforce. And that is up from or compared to the 27% nationally. So we really do have a strong share of representation in advanced manufacturing, even though you may not know this statistic. So what would a career look like in apprenticeship in advanced manufacturing? So sustainability, I love to point out this little piece of it, because many individuals don't realize that there is a lot of opportunity for continuing education within this field. Many companies allow you to also retain further education while you're working on the factory floor. So you could start here, move up, start an apprenticeship, move up into get your associates, get your bachelor's, and move upwards and onwards. A lot of engineers start out this way in their apprenticeship programs, which is really great. And in Germany, just a little fun fact, many of the CEOs in Germany start out as apprentices in the ground floor, working their way up to become a CEO of a company, which is really phenomenal. And of course, apprenticeship in Germany is very much so part of the way they live. It really is a fast-tracked career development opportunity. So in our apprenticeship program at CCM, we make mentorship a huge part of the program. So you're really having a person on site at the company who can handhold and help you and walk you through and become a mentor to you, developing you as an employee, which is really fantastic. Not everybody gets that. Sometimes it's, you know, figure it out as you move along. So it's great that we're trying to introduce the mentorship component. It's a highly credentialed career opportunity with us. I'll just explain for CCM's program. There are many different opportunities to gain industry credentials. You're getting your Department of Labor certificate and registered apprenticeship. CAD and CAM, SolidWorks certifications, OSHA 10, CPR basics, and then at the end of the program, you actually get some college credits to apply to your associate's degree. And that's all through just our apprenticeship program that lasts a couple of months. And you're truly gaining a highly technical career in a very promising career pathway, which is amazing. So how can I jumpstart my career in advanced manufacturing, you might be asking? And I will provide some email information and also our website that you can take a look at if you were looking for more information. And I'm looking forward to hearing you all in the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. And one of the great things about this entire event is that we're touching on STEM. So for anyone who doesn't know, that's science, technology, engineering, and math. And so we're going to shift gears a little bit. And our next speaker is Professor Tamburelli. She's been a professor at CCM for over 20 years. She developed the Web Design Certificate and the Cybersecurity Program. And in 2017, CCM became the first two-year school in New Jersey to be designated by the National Security Agency and the Department of Homeland Security as a center of academic excellence in cyber defense. There were only approximately 50 community colleges in the country that received that designation at that time. And through her extensive relationships with government, business, and academia, CCM students have benefited in many ways. So Professor Tamburelli, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. And are we, I believe, I'm showing my my tech side here. I should be sharing my screen. Good. Okay. Thank you for that introduction. I am Professor Tamburelli, and I guess the crowning achievement in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics for me was, like Michelle just mentioned, CCM becoming the first two-year school in New Jersey that became a center of academic excellence in cyber defense education. And I was actually teaching. My husband and I built this program in the early 2000s. And we were actually teaching cybersecurity classes at CCM in the early 2000s. No one had any idea what we were doing. Nobody knew what these courses were about. And very interestingly enough, we're always trying to recruit more women in STEM, more women in cyber, more women in IT. But what was interesting was I remember my very first cohort of students that were going through the certificate, the 3 required courses back then in the early 2000s. There was a woman in that class, and she was returning to the workforce woman. And she actually did get a position at Tiffany and Company in Parsippany when she finished the certificate. And she had no experience in cyber, no experience in IT, but they hired her based on the fact that our curriculum had so many hands-on labs and so many exercises built into it. And this is in the time when hands-on is not like it is today. So it was kind of a struggling hands-on, but she did secure that position as a cybersecurity analyst back in the mid 2000s. It was like 2005, 2006 when she did get that position. So I decided to focus on that today. I decided to focus on the different paths that you can take and the different paths that women can take in careers in cyber or careers in IT. And what I love about it, what I love about IT, cyber, computer science, is that you take your background, you take your experience, and you bring it to us. You bring it to us at CCM, and we could tailor a path for you. We can help you along that path based on your strengths. And more importantly, based on what you're looking for. What do you want to do? Some students have no idea what they want to do, but at least when they could bring their strengths and they bring their background, and then when they're exposed to different things, then they figure out what it is that they want to do. But if you're looking for a career in cyber or IT, computer science, there's individual courses that you could take at CCM. We have certificate programs. We have associate degree programs. We have pathways to transfer to bachelor's. And then we have some students that just come to us, like that student in the mid 2000s, who came to us for a certificate, and then she actually was looking for work. So what I decided to do was I decided to focus on some of our prior students and the different pathways that they have taken. The pictures that you see here, this was also one of our crowning, CCM's crowning glory moments, crowning achievement moments. In 2015, there is a national competition called the Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. It's a national competition sponsored by a government contractor called Raytheon. And they've been probably, it's about 15 years now, I guess, 16 years that they've been running this competition. They have regional competitions first that are broken down different areas of the country. And then they have virtual qualifying rounds, in-person rounds. So whoever wins the in-person round actually goes to the national competition. So we competed for the first time in 2015 in the Mid-Atlantic Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, because we're in the Mid-Atlantic region. And that year, because it was the 10th anniversary of the MACCDC, 10 teams, 10 schools actually went to the regional finals. And we were one of them. And it was so interesting because, like I said, my husband and I developed this program in cyber over 20 years ago. We've been involved with the NSA. And what was funny was that all the people that we know, all the different colleges, government, they kept telling us, don't expect anything. It's the first time you're entering this competition. Don't expect anything. Just, it's good that you're there. It's good that you have a presence. And that was kind of actually our philosophy. But what was interesting was that those of you who teach, you never give your students your home address, and you never want your students to come to your house. However, when we were preparing for this competition, this team of students actually practiced at our home, because our home was pretty centrally located to CCM, and it was a place that was quiet. We actually had to up our internet connection, up our bandwidth, because CCM actually at the time, and rightfully so for CCM, coming from a cybersecurity professional, you don't want my team practicing on the CCM network. You don't even want them practicing on a VLAN in the CCM network. So we had the team come to our house, and we would practice. We would show movies. My husband is a great cook. I hate to cook. He would cook these fantastic dinners. They were bribes. Yes, they were. And when the virtual qualifying, we actually competed from our home. That's where we competed for the virtual qualifying round, and we made the finals. So we made the finals. The finals were at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab in Maryland. That's where the MACCDC finals are every year. And we went there, and other than having my children and not having my grandchild, but my grandchild being in existence, this was the best thing I ever did in my whole life. This was so incredible to go down to this final competition. There were 10 schools, and you could see the graphic on the right. We all had banners. The competition has a theme every year, and this year it was Transit Storm. So it was actually a transportation network that students had to they had to secure, and they were getting hacked at the same time by a red team. And the red team, you actually have to try out for the CCDC red team. They're very particular with who they take. So these students are trying to secure this network, keep it up and running. They're being attacked 24/7. It's a 2-day competition, and it's supposed to simulate 2 actual business days. So then you also have people coming in and asking to do regular business tasks. Can you set up a new email? Can you do this? Can you do that? But my point being, you'll notice in the picture on the left, there was 1 female on our team. And of the 10 teams, there were only 2 teams that had females. Our team and a team from, ironically enough, it was the only other community college that was in the finals. Their captain was a female. But what was interesting was this particular female that was on our team, she actually had a bachelor's degree that she earned years previously in, it was either biology or chemistry. And she came to CCM because she wanted a career in IT, and she wanted a career in cyber. So she came to CCM. She did complete her associates in computer science while she was on the competition team. And she did actually, it's funny because when we were there, the NSA, one of the people that worked for the NSA actually pulled her outside and said, can you come work for us? And government agencies will typically not hire anyone unless you have a 4-year degree. And fortunately for her, she did have a 4-year degree. It might not have been in IT or in cyber, but she was eligible to be hired because she did have that 4-year degree. And she chose not to because she did not want to move down to Fort Meade, Maryland. She wanted to stay in New Jersey. So she actually has been working all these years since, I think since 2016 or 2017, she's actually been working for an IT company, and an IT company that does hire, that does offer internships and not apprenticeships yet. I wish they did, but this company does offer a lot of internships and co-ops, and they do hire some of our students, even in the short term, for them to get experience. And it's all because of her. It's all because of her, her leadership when she got into the company. So that was her path. That was, and we have another student who had a different type of path. And the graphics that you see here, every year there's a day that, you know, there's a day for everything. Everything has a day today. There is Data Privacy Day in January. And Data Privacy Day is an international day, worldwide day. And in the United States, there's one particular location, only one in the United States every year, that hosts Data Privacy Day in person. So this was 2018, and it was in Philadelphia. And because of one of my colleagues in California, his school actually went to the Data Privacy Day the year before, and he recommended, because he knew it was in Philly, he knew we were close, he recommended County College of Morris. So we actually were the only school that took part in national, international, really worldwide Data Privacy Day in Philadelphia in that year. And we did take our cybersecurity club, or we have a cybersecurity presentation team, as well as a cybersecurity club. And the 3 students that you see were all officers in the club. And our female student, Andrea, because she was a female student, she was actually chosen for the panel that you see on the right-hand side, Youth and Tech Industry Issues and Perspective. And it was very interesting because I don't know if I was offended or if I was happy that they said, we want you on this because you're a female. Still not sure. But anyway, she was on that panel because she was a female. And Andrea's path, she came to CCM with really not knowing what she wanted to do. She did major in computer science, concentrating in cybersecurity. And she was actually a recipient of a scholarship to a 4-year school in Maryland that was offering scholarships to any student countrywide that applied for to complete your bachelor's degree in cybersecurity totally online. She did not have to go down to this school once. It was the name of the school is Capital Technical University. We've had articulation agreements with them for many years, and they offer this scholarship once a year. And actually, believe it or not, 2 of the students in that picture actually were recipients of the full scholarship in the same year. And Andrea did finish, she did graduate. Brian in the middle, he's graduating this year. He actually has worked 2 jobs, has a family. So both students are recipients of a cybersecurity scholarship. And Andrea has, during her time at Capital Technical University, she has fell in love with blockchain. And she has become a blockchain advocate for K through 12, blockchain advocate in general. And she actually has her own company now, where with 2 other young women, which we'll see in a future slide there, where they actually travel the world and they talk about blockchain and they try to educate people on what blockchain is. And I'm very proud of her. Very proud of Brian as well, but that was her path. And then the last few pictures that you see here, these are more recent. And we did a competition at the University of Connecticut before COVID, the end of the year in 2019. And we did have a female on that team. And Lauren's path is also very different. Lauren came to IT and came to cyber by way of graphic design. And she is a great graphic designer. She thought that's what she wanted to do. She fell in love with cyber. She fell in love with IT. And I believe she did complete her degree in IT. I know she completed the certificate in cyber, and she just transferred to a 4-year school. I think it's William Patterson, where she's pursuing a degree, her bachelor's degree in graphic design. So her path was very different. She was also on our competition team, as you can see. and on our presentation team. And the picture on the right shows our last CCDC competition team. And again, that was 2019, thank you, COVID. The 2020 CCDC, they tried to have it as a virtual event, but I don't think they were able to pull it off. And that was the picture that you see there. That was our last MACCDC competition team. And you see that there's more females on there. So that was why I included that, because when we first started teaching cyber 20 years ago, there were only that one female was the only female that I had in my courses. And as the years went by, it's still heavily male attended, the courses, but we do have more women, and we have more women in more classes. And to me, that's a good thing. I'm actually also part of NCWIT, the National Council on Women in Information Technology. And that's one of the goals of that organization, is to just bring more women in. But I think what I hope I'm trying to convey is that it doesn't make a difference what your background is. It doesn't make a difference what your skill set is. There's a place for you. There's a place for you in IT. There's definitely a place for you in cyber. And the wonderful thing about cyber is that there's just so many different paths, so many different ways that you could go. And ironically enough, I do have to mention this. I do follow Andrea on Instagram, and she actually started a live stream on her Instagram right before I started talking. So I did actually like click into there, but then now I'm back here talking. But just to demonstrate how there's so many different paths. And the young lady on the right, I was fortunate enough to meet her a few times. She actually became an ambassador for a national competition. The competition is called National Cyber League. And it is a competition, but it's also, the purpose of it is for you to hone your skills. So if you register for the National Cyber League, yes, there's a competition part of it, but you could stay in that environment for 6 months, and they have all kinds of practice labs, practice skills, and they actually call it a gymnasium, because think about what we do in a gymnasium. We practice usually our athletic skills, but in this gymnasium, in the National Cyber League gymnasium, you're practicing your cyber skills. So, and that was just another path that Caitlin took. She was, and again, listening to her speak, I've actually presented at a few different conferences with her, and her story is very interesting. Same story, always interested in tech, always interested in IT, but was never really given a chance. She was the female on the team, and then she pushed herself to the forefront, and now she's an ambassador, the chief player ambassador for the National Cyber League, which is pretty cool. And I think that the whole moral is that when I advise a lot of students, they'll say to me, well, what can I do? Can I do this? Can I do that? And I tell them all, you can. And you can do anything you want on your terms. Because usually when you think of IT, computer science, cyber, you don't think that you can dictate the terms and you can dictate your path. But you can dictate your path. And there is a place for everyone, male, female, there's a place for everyone in IT, in computer science, in cyber. So the last thing that I have is I have some resources. The NICE Workforce Framework. This is a framework that actually my husband and I, he's an adjunct professor at CCM. We actually worked on the beginning versions of this NICE framework. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to think. It had to be maybe the mid to late 2000s. We worked on the first and second version of the NICE cybersecurity framework. But the good thing about this is that if you're interested in a career in cyber, this framework actually breaks everything down into areas. So I want to be a penetration tester. So I could look to see what a penetration test specialty area is. I could see what roles there are in penetration testing. I could see what tasks I would have to perform in my duties as a penetration tester, what skills I need, what knowledge I need, and what abilities I need. And this is wonderful. This has come a long way since the mid to late 2000s when we just did the first and second iteration of this. But it's amazing. And you can see that everything we teach, our cybersecurity curriculum at CCM, is mapped to this NICE cybersecurity workforce framework. So I put that link up there just because it gives you, to me, it gives you a whole overview, bird's eye overview of the field of cyber and what you could do. Because you might say, well, oh, I can't be a pen tester, I can't do that. But maybe I could be an analyst. Maybe I could be a log analyst, and at least I could look in there and find those categories, those roles, and just by searching on those keywords. So even if you're not familiar with the words, even if you're not familiar with penetration tester, you could actually type in the search bar there, and it will pull out for you, which is great. I also did a little research recently, like yesterday, on different IT jobs, because I think that as times change, the first 5 jobs listed as the top 5 IT jobs do change. And what I think is interesting, I've been noticing, of course, in this COVID time that we live in, a lot of these top jobs now are healthcare related, but they're also network, cyber, system, support related. And we've all been there. We've all been doing this for the last year. So think about having everything online. Before everything went online, we had cyber considerations, but now that our lives are lived online, and not just our lives, our children's lives, everyone's lives are lived online, that the need for cyber and the need for IT support has really grown exponentially. So this link just shows some of the top 21 jobs, and you'll see, of course, web developer. Actually, that is my class today at 2:00. I have a web development class. But again, that goes hand in hand with this explosion of being online and living our lives online, that we definitely need to hone those skills. IT technician, systems analyst, network engineer, a UX designer, database administrator, of course, couldn't get anything done without having the backend databases that we could access. Software engineer, IT security specialist. I did stop on that one, even though it's number 12. It should be number 1, but I get it. I get that it's down in number 12. And if anybody wanted to follow through with the rest of the top 21, I put that link up there. And I put this link up there because this is something that is close to my heart. When I was looking for jobs in IT yesterday, just doing a search, this came up, NSA Women in STEM. And I thought that this was really pretty ironic and amazing, because the people that I know from the NSA that I met back in 2000, 1999, 2000 was when I met the people that work for the NSA, and most of them were women. Most of them are women. The NIETP is a National Information Assurance Education and Training Program. That's where our CAE designation comes from that part of the NSA. But it is really, truly top heavy with women, especially in that directorate, in that part of the NSA. And positions are open. So keep in mind, though, that the NSA does require you to have a 4-year degree. And of course, the NSA does require you to have a background check. You have to pass a background check. And then the last link I put was just for Crypto Kate. This is her part of the National Cyber League, just in case anybody wanted to read some more information about her. I put that up there. So lastly, last slide, if anybody wants to contact me, please feel free. I do answer my email. I do have it on my phone. I do check it whenever I hear that beep. I do check my email, and my office phone number is there. But if you call my office, I am not there. Just leave a message and I will definitely get back to you. And I think what I pride myself on, and what I have always prided myself on being a professor at CCM, is personalized advice, personalized career, personalized academic advice. So if anyone out there is looking for that, come my way and I'll be glad to help. So, and I'm looking forward to the questions and answer session at the end.
Thank you very much for sharing those experiences and the examples with the students. That was really great. And so with that notion of us covering all the different areas of STEM, our final speaker is Professor Christine Kelly. She is the Assistant Chairperson and Associate Professor in the Biology and Chemistry Department in the School of Health and Natural Sciences. She started out her academic career. She has her Associate of Science here from CCM and a Bachelor of Science and a Master of Science from William Patterson University. So thank you, Professor Kelly.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see everybody. I wish it was in person and not via Zoom, but it's where we are today. So let me just get this open for you. Where am I? Slide master. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, wait a minute. It's been so long that I've had to teach face-to-face that I forgot how to use PowerPoint. There we go. Okay. So I was asked to come to speak to you today a little bit about my experience in STEM. I've obviously, as you heard, I do have my associate's degree from County and obtained that in 2002. Basically growing up from the time I was a little kid, I loved bio. I loved being outside with my dad. He was an avid bird watcher. And he would drag me out in the woods with him. We'd go look at hawks and all that kind of fun stuff. He would show me bugs and he'd bring moths in the house and dragonflies and put them in front of the air conditioner and get them to freeze up a little bit so he could identify them. So was always interested in science and STEM from the time I was a little kid. I graduated from high school and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do biology. But once again, I'm here to talk a little bit about what I ended up choosing, and also I'll talk a little bit about other careers that you can do with a bio degree. So I applied to a whole bunch of schools, Rutgers, Ramapo, Rowan, all over the place, and decided to go with County. Had a good reputation, but as being a 17-year-old kid, and my parents saying, "Hey, do you want a lot of college loans?" And I said, "No." So I did choose County because it was the cheapest option. I also got a scholarship to go to County because I was in like the top 25% of my class in high school. So County was even cheaper. So it was a really great option for me. Once again, still went because it did had a great reputation, but ultimately it was financial. So I did do two years at County, got my associates in science. I was in the healthcare track when I was at County. I thought I really wanted to be a physical therapist. I thought that was my goal. That was my dream. When I was getting ready to graduate from County, I had not done my hours yet for PT school. I hadn't really investigated the field and like working there or, doing a little bit of an apprenticeship or an internship in a PT office. So when I applied to schools, I applied to William Patterson, Montclair State. Seton Hall was my top choice because they did have a physical therapy school there. But once again, it came down to money. I got into Seton Hall's PT program, was super excited, and then we found out what the tuition was. And it was high, and I was going to still be living at home. I grew up in Parsippany, so still was close by. And I still, like I said, I hadn't done my hours yet in a PT office. I had gone to PT growing up for ankle problems, wrist, whatever else I had hurt, but still was like, wow, it's a lot of money to go to PT school. And my mom was like, yeah, well, we'll have to take out college loans. She was like, but if you go to William Patterson or Montclair State, we got you. So ultimately, financial swayed my decision. Also going to William Patterson was a great opportunity when I went for the open house there. The chairperson of their department, who was a female, also sat down and actually spoke with me and said, what is your career path? What do you want to do? What are your thoughts? Like, what are you thinking about? And then she also advised me that they had a pre-professional advisor who, if I wanted to go to physical therapy school, that she'd be able to help me and fill out applications and all that kind of stuff. So ultimately, that one-on-one attention that I did get from the chairperson of their department was the ultimate decision of why I ended up choosing William Patterson. I did get a bachelor's degree from there in 2004. During that time, I was doing some hours at a friend's physical therapy office and decided I did not want to be a physical therapist. So it was ultimately the best decision I made was not to apply, was not to go to physical therapy school, because within that first year, I realized this isn't for me. I don't want to deal with insurance companies and argue and fight. And that's a lot of what they did. The physical therapist assistant was doing most of the hands-on work. So I was very blessed. I was glad I made the decision I made. I saved a lot of money and some time there. However, in 2004, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like, cool, I have a biology degree, which a lot of our students and a lot of bachelor students, I'm sure, say the same thing. So I was very fortunate that the graduate coordinator at William Patterson said, do you want to go to college for free and get a master's? And I said, free? Tell me a little bit about this opportunity. So I was offered a graduate assistantship at William Patterson. And what I had to do is I taught 3 lab classes per semester, and they paid for my education. So ultimately I decided, let's do a master's degree. Why not? I don't know what I want to do. So let's go back to school. And I had always loved being in school. I always enjoyed it. Very interesting because this is talking about women in STEM. When I graduated with my master's degree, I turned around and looked at my graduating class, and I would say 90% of us were female. It was pretty amazing walking across that stage and saying, wow, most of us are women standing up here. This is pretty impressive. A little harder to say that with a bachelor's degree because the graduations are so much larger, but you could really see it with the master's graduation. We were a very heavily female dominated graduating class that year. It was impressive. It was cool. A lot of my professors were female as well. And all of my male professors that I interacted with were always very appreciative of us being female and also us working as hard as we could. We always felt comfortable asking them questions, and they always encourage us to do so. So I had a really good experience as being a female in STEM throughout my educational career. While I was teaching at William Patterson with my master's, I loved it. It was kind of in my heart and always something that I thought I wanted to do probably forever. However, when I first graduated, I needed a job. I hadn't done any of the praxis and all that stuff to do K through 12. So I just started applying to a variety of different jobs. And I did land a position in 2006 at a company called Garden State Cancer Center, and I was hired as a laboratory technician. So as a laboratory technician at Garden State Cancer Center, we mostly worked with animal models. It was mice, guinea pigs, rabbits, and that was pretty much the animals and rats. We also worked with rats as well. And we were basically doing science where we injected the animals with cancer, and then we were trying to cure them with immunotherapies. So a lot of us are now hearing about immunotherapy as treatment for cancer. We're hearing about immunotherapies for treatments of other viral diseases, et cetera. So we were working on immunotherapies. Once again, I was there for about 3 years. My heart was still in teaching. I loved it. They were also a small nonprofit, and when the economy took a hit in 2008, 2009, they were starting to struggle. I was still ensured that I would have a job at their profit side, which was Immunomedics. They're in Morris Plains, excellent company. However, my heart was still in teaching. So I did think about going back and doing the praxis and getting the certification through K through 12. However, very fortunate. I had maintained contact with a lot of my professors at CCM, and I had been speaking to one of them, and she mentioned that there was a position available. So I jumped on that bandwagon really quick, set in my application, and I obviously got hired in 2009 as an instructor. I do want to mention when I was at Garden State Cancer Center, I was very fortunate because it was a small company, and because it was a smaller company, I was trained in probably 25 to 30 different techniques versus a lot of times when you go to those larger companies, you are hired to do HPLC, and that's all you're going to do while you sit in that role. So I had learned a variety of different techniques. I learned how to inject cancer cells. I learned how to do radio labeling of different products, cell culture, working with animals, and all the stuff that came along with it. Also, since we are talking about female in STEM, my boss was a female. She was an inorganic chemist, wonderful woman, and she was brilliant, and she was wonderful to work for. So I have to even say, when I was at Garden State Cancer Center, a lot of my coworkers were female, my bosses were females. So it was very interesting for me, even in, the mid 2000s, that I really felt surrounded by quite a few women in STEM. So it was kind of empowering. It felt really nice. I obviously now am at County. I was an instructor in 2009 when I got hired, and then I was promoted to assistant professor, and now I am the assistant chair of the department. I've been the assistant chair for quite a few years. I also am the advisor to the biology and chemistry club. So if anybody is interested, if you're a student or if anybody from industry wants to come and talk to us, we would love to have you and have some speakers. So at County, obviously, I love County. I can't say more things about it. I started here and I came on back, like many of our other faculty actually have. So in our department, we are very heavily female dominated in the bio and chem department. If anybody looks at our faculty, you're going to see lots of females there as well. It's a great program. So if anybody is interested, please let me know. Just as Pat said, she loves to do that individualized attention and advisement career path. So does our department. Pretty much everybody does. But leaning on that and the advisement career paths, one of probably the biggest questions we get is, what can I do with a bio degree? right? That's always the question. What can I do with my degree? So most people, when they ask that question, they're like, oh, I got to go to research. I got to become a doctor. That's all I can do with this bio degree. And that really isn't the case. So here I just kind of listed some job opportunities. Some of them are the very standard job opportunities that we all think about when we think about biology and chemistry. I focus more on the bio side because that's my area of expertise. But the first one and the first two really are kind of the big ones everybody thinks about: careers in research. So with research, you are going to be working in a laboratory and you're going to be investigating some sort of problem. Like I was working with cancer and trying to come up with different treatments, etc. So that's your typical, what everybody thinks biologists do. And then, of course, there's the careers in healthcare. You're going to see some that are very standard there: physician's assistant, vet, doctor, dentist. But I threw some others in there that I think are unique. A career in healthcare that some individuals would like are health communication specialist or a health educator. For those of you who don't know what that is somebody who actually educates communities about health concerns. This, for example, would be somebody who today might go out into a community and explain, what is the COVID-19 vaccination? What are the risks? What are the pros? Why should you get this vaccination? And that's what a health educator would do. Just an example. They can do other things as well. A lot of people they think about pharmaceutical sales, but there are a lot of people who do medical product and medical equipment sales. I actually have a very close friend he works for Stryker, and he basically goes into the hospitals with doctors while they're doing surgery and explains how to use the medical equipment, why the doctor's actually doing the surgery. So he has a bio background, obviously. He's not doing the physical surgery. He just has a bachelor's degree. I don't want to mean just, but he has only a bachelor's degree, whereas you would think, oh, he must have a PhD. And he literally goes in and teaches the doctors how to use this medical equipment, why the surgery is going on. It's a pretty cool job, and he makes good money. I'll throw that out there. And as I said, genetic counselors, that's also another one that some people don't think about. Genetic counselors are individuals who are going to assess genetic risks, and then they explain it to their patients. A lot of people are familiar with careers in environmental conservation, and I listed a variety of different biologists that would be involved in that. With environmental conservation, we're obviously trying to solve environmental problems. We're trying to protect natural resources, protect wildlife, conserve them, sustain them for future generations. This is a huge area right now, right? We've been talking about global warming and what effects that has on our environment. So that's a really good place to be right now. And especially with the administration that we have in the government, really good place to be. Biotech is obviously another place that most students are familiar with. And this is obviously the drug development. We're learning a lot more about biotech with everything going on with COVID, et cetera. Careers in education, obviously that people are familiar with too. I stuck the health communication specialist under there as well, because that is education, a form of education. It's not the traditional form we think about, but it is a form. Some other careers that maybe are a little less familiar to people is that you can get a career in forensic science. And you can see I listed a few different types of careers here. The first one is actually somebody who would look at just specifically dental evidence. That's a forensic odontologist. We have forensic anthropology here. These are individuals that would look at human decomposition. Some crime scene examinations are done by biologists, and then medical examiner roles. With medical examiners in the state of New Jersey, you do need a medical degree for that, just as an FYI, but not everywhere you need a medical degree for that. The last few are probably degrees that maybe people wouldn't think about, or areas they could go into from a bio degree. Some people go into science publishing and communication. So you can become a scientific writer and write for those individuals who need you to type up some information about maybe heart disease or how you treat heart disease. In addition, what you might also be able to get into is you might be able to work for journals, magazines, websites, TV programs, and filming. Sometimes they want to bring in biologists for shows like, let's say, Grey's Anatomy, and they want someone to obviously be able to mimic the correct biology so things look real versus not looking real. So many times you can even, if you have that kind of interest in that background, you can also apply it. In addition, you can also become a medical illustrator. I didn't throw that up there, but that one just popped in my head as well. So if you have an art background, you can always infuse bio and art together as well. So just also trying to show that you can incorporate your art skills with also the love of science. It's not necessarily something that has to be super separate. Some people get involved in economics, business, industry, government, and policy. So people in the economic field, they will look at the economic impact on biological problems that are arising on the society. They look at things like extinction, deforestation, pollution. Some people will go into socioeconomics, which focuses on humans, environmental, ecological. So you can also be in a field where economics, because we're good at numbers too as biologists, so that is a place people can go. You can see the business and industry. I also listed some kind of unique things that some people may not think about. Financial analysts, attorneys, right? Some attorneys specialize in like patent law, for example, intellectual property, environmental law, malpractice, sales, obviously, and marketing. That comes back to that medical equipment type thing, medical devices, pharmaceuticals. Public relations, there's a lot of pharmaceutical companies that need public relations people, and they need the science behind it to help facilitate that. So you could end up with an MBA and a bio degree, for example. And then government and policy, we do need individuals in government and policy with the biology backgrounds, because we do need individuals who can help to create new legislation and ensure that those changes are based on solid science, and that it's not just, we decided to do this because of no reason. So sometimes they need that individual with that factual science knowledge. You can work for regional, national individuals, not nonprofits in this case. And sometimes people are just representatives for political groups that need a biologist. So those are just some job opportunities that I wanted to throw out. Some are very, like I said, they're the common, and then others are a little bit maybe different. And so if somebody's in economics, obviously, or IT even, Pat mentioned the ITs and stuff, obviously you can definitely fuse bio in with the IT and, that kind of thing. So it's pretty fascinating. Really, with a bio degree, you can go anywhere. So I do look forward to the Q&A.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and share screen. And right before we start the Q&A, I do just want to give the opportunity for, we have the Director of Career Services and Cooperative Education here to tell us about some of the services that they offer. And so Denise Schmidt is here. Denise, I believe you do have to unmute yourself though.
And that I can do.
Okay.
Happy to have a 5-minute opportunity to just give a little promotional commercial for our department. We are career services. The slide that you see there just gives you an idea of some of the platforms that we have. Especially in this virtual world that we live in, these platforms have come in handy for students who can't get to us or don't have access to all the resources that they would normally have. We get jobs called into our office, sent in all the time from area employers. We post them on our platform called Job Connect. Students can sign up for that and look at those jobs anytime they want. I will mention a little promo here for a job fair that we're having, virtual job fair, the week of April 5th. It's actually the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And we will be able to entertain students that day, and we'll have Q&A sessions as well, but employers will be presenting real job opportunities. So we'll have 6 employers each day, so 18 altogether. There's more information on our virtual career center site, and I encourage you to find that on the CCM website and maybe bookmark it, link to it, so that you can keep up with what we're doing, get current information. You'll also find resources like Optimal Resume. If you've never written a resume, don't really know where to begin, really step-by-step walks you through. We have a great relationship with them. We've used them for quite a few years. We have, your faculty have given you tremendous insight into the kinds of careers you can consider. And I learned a thing or two, I always do. But we do have a platform called Candid Career, free to students again. And this gives you an opportunity to watch very short videos of people who do the job And much as you've heard your faculty speak about what they do, they didn't do it all and can't. So they might want to consider, you might want to consider Candid Career when you have time. There are over 6,000 videos in their library, and they encourage us all the time. If we think of a career that's not on there, we just can let them know and they'll make one happen. Career Concourse is more about the projections of where things will be in the future, and also connecting majors with careers. This has been popular with faculty and for their students. It's all about, what can I do with this major? And, you know, it could be a more obscure major than biology. It could be something you're considering in transfer to a four-year school. Really a great resource, very full of information, real valuable. So I encourage you to take a look at those. Remember the job fair the week of April 5th. Do check out our virtual career center. And two more things. One is we do offer support not only to our students, but if you graduate from CCM, you have lifetime support. You can always come back for a resume check, any number of things. So we're here for you whenever you need us. And the only other plug I'd like to make is for internships. We hear from students all the time who don't do internships while they're at CCM that they wish they had. Internships are there's a wide range of the amount of time, the location, whether they're paid or not, whether they're for credit or not, all kinds of options. So I'm pretty sure we could find something that would work for just about any student who was interested in thinking about getting a little bit of hands-on experience in a field they're considering. So if we can help you out, let us know. Turn it back over to you, Michelle.
Thank you very much. And so now is our time for question and answer. We have about 10 minutes if anybody has any questions. And I was going to steal the first one, but Professor Soltis already has one in the chat, so he's stolen it from me. So he's saying, you talked about this already, but could you go into detail on whether, actually that was going to be my question, so I'm glad he asked, detail on whether a bachelor's or a master's degree are required for your respective fields. And I was actually wondering if any of the jobs, even in associates, if, you know, is it necessary to go beyond, or does it, you know, what kind of, does it depend on the job? So I don't know if we want to go in the order of who presented. I hate to put you on the spot, but Alexandra, if you could go first.
That's perfectly fine. So for specifically for CCM's apprenticeship program, you only needed a high school GED to get enrolled in that program. And the program actually gets you 3 degrees or 3 credits towards your associate degree. So it's really kind of a career path to pursue at the beginning of your education.
Patricia?
In regard to cyber, because the field, even though it's 20 years old, still so new, students can get hired, or people can get hired just with certificates, and with being able to demonstrate certain skills without even having an associate's, without even having a bachelor's degree, or without even going on. But if anyone is looking for a career with a government agency, they do require a bachelor's degree, minimum bachelor's degree, and some even require master's degrees, depending on which agency it is and depending on which time you're applying for the agency.
Christine?
For most of our jobs in the biology area, most of the time a bachelor's degree is sufficient. Obviously, there were some degrees on there that do need higher education or medical school, obviously, or going to PA school. However, with an associate's degree, there are some research jobs that can be obtained. Unfortunately, and I'm just being honest, unfortunately, if you do have an associate's and you're going into the research, the laboratory setting, you're going to be doing something that maybe isn't as fun. It might be something like cleaning cages, giving the animals water, giving the animals food, kind of being the animal caregiver, versus possibly being in the laboratory and doing the injections and maybe doing necropsies and things of that nature. There are some positions though with associate's degrees, but you're going to be doing skills that are not as technical. We do have a chem tech program, however, where they do get the terminal degree, the AAS program, or that terminal degree. So we do have chem tech as well, and that degree really does focus in on more technical skills, so they can get those laboratory positions. But if you're doing the AS in bio or the AS in chem, then those are transfer programs and really gearing you to getting that bachelor's to get that little bit higher level laboratory technician position. But there are some associate laboratory positions available.
And then Professor Soltis has provided another question. I think for this, I might just leave it open to whoever wants to tackle it. What will turn the tide to have more representation of women in STEM, and what can colleges and your industries do better?
I'd be happy to jump in here. I believe that it really has a lot to do with our community as well. Our parents educating their children on what opportunities are out there. Certainly, our industries can also encourage women to get these jobs and whatnot as well. But I think it really comes down to, at a young age in high school, having our teachers educate their students. I think it really starts there.
I'm just going to add to what Alexandra said, just that I think that I see a difference. I see a change. I see a change in these 20 years where I see more female students saying they want careers in cyber. They want careers in computer science. They want careers in IT, even help desk in IT, where 20 years ago, you would really have the rare female that would want to be a help desk employee or help desk worker. But I do see the tide changing, and I think it is because of what we do at CCM. I mean, I think it's because of the type of professors that we have there, the type of programs that we have there, and the outreach. I mean, we do the cybersecurity club team program has gone to so many different organizations and entities, including the Girl Scouts. We had a huge kickoff at CCM when the Girl Scouts came out with their cyber STEM badge. And we did have the kickoff at CCM. So I think these are little things that really have big impact. And we're doing it. We're doing it at CCM. We're plugging away. We're chipping away at it.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off that, I do think the tides are changing. As I said, I was very fortunate throughout my educational career and my job career that I saw a very heavy female dominated kind of area where I was. And I think it's important that we show CCM students that you can do it, and that we have female faculty who are in the STEM field, who have excelled. A lot of us were in industry before. So showing them that we have that background, we weren't just teachers, because sometimes teaching becomes I hate to say it, becomes a female industry. Sometimes people look at it that way. So I think it's important that they hear that we were in industry and that we were very successful and that we worked hard, we got where we are. And I think also Pat mentioned in her presentation about advisement and sitting down with our students and saying, hey, yeah, you can do this. You can go into something that's a male or what is considered to be a male dominated field, and you can excel and you can do it. So I think it's also just motivating our students and just really sitting down, having that one-on-one interaction with them. I think that really helps. And then, with the bio and chem clubs, and obviously I know you guys in IT have 2 or 3 clubs, right, Pat?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it's like you guys have 2 or 3 clubs. I think bringing in speakers from outside is super important, and showing them females in different industries. Bringing somebody in maybe who is a female patent attorney would be really interesting to our students, or a female student who went to CCM who's becoming a doctor now. And I think bringing those students back from CCM, if we can, is helpful as well, to show them you can do it.
Can I jump in? This is Carrie
Yeah,
Cottingham.
Scary.
Of course.
Hi, I teach same department as Professor Kelly there. I teach chemistry, and I actually have a great president for the Women in STEM Club. She jumped in this year, and she's been wonderful at recruiting students and running meetings. So if you do have students, send them my way so that if they want to join. But I do want to say that the club may not, to a lot of people, seem very significant. But what it really is, because sometimes we just get together and chat about experiences, and others might on the outside look at that and think, so what, you're just a bunch of women talking. No, it's important is the support, to be able to share your story and see other people going through it, and you can help each other through it. I have seen in the past and have had colleagues talk to me about horror stories they've experienced. in their graduate programs, in their undergraduate programs, in their careers, where they were mistreated just solely because they were women. And some people have the mentality that women can't do it. And we as women, I think we know, yes, we can. And when you have that really cruddy experience, trying to get back into it sometimes can be challenging in itself. But if you have people there cheering you on and saying, yes, you can do it, stick with it, we're here for you, is a huge contributing factor of do women stay. And also it's important, our department, you said it, we're predominantly women. That's important. Women need to see other women. If they come to a department, I went to a chemistry program that was mostly men as professors. They never treated me poorly. They never did. They always treated me as an equal. But again, that was a factor too. What if I had gone to a school that was predominantly male professors and then they treated me poorly? Would I still be here? So now it's changing. Our department is definitely mostly women, and I think that helps a lot. Women can say, I see myself there. I could do that.
Thank you, Carrie, so much, because I think it's great to bring up that additional resource of the club Women in STEM, because I think it, as you said, it helps with that support. And I think it helps with the talking, as everyone's been mentioning, about all the options that are available. We only have a minute, so I kind of hate asking another question after that was a really good point, but I do want to ask just one more question, because I'm wondering if people are thinking about going into any of these fields, they have an interest, but not really experience. One, is that okay? And then is it possible to do it part-time? Because a lot of people, especially with the pandemic, are going through sort of career transitional changes. Is it possible, let's say that you're interested, but you're not, do you have the background to do it? And can you do it part-time if you want to? So anyone who wants to tackle that.
I'm just going to hop in quickly. A lot of our students, I'm sorry, Christina, I didn't mean to jump in ahead of you. A lot of our students in cyber are actually going through the curriculum part-time because they are working in the field in some capacity. And because cyber, again, like I said, it's fairly new, and they're actually trying to push departments, or taking one person and saying, okay, you're a network engineer. Now you're going to be the cybersecurity consultant for our company. So cyber can definitely be done part-time. IT can be done part-time. Even computer science can be done part-time.
I was gonna say, all of our degrees can definitely be done part-time. It's gonna take longer, but you expect that when you go part-time. That is, an expectation that you have. But definitely you can go part-time. I do believe that we will be continuing, fingers crossed, we're supposed to be face-to-face fall 2021, but I do believe we're actually going to still keep offering one section here and there of some of our major courses. So for example, like General Biology 1, I believe in the fall, we're still going to offer like one section of online to help those individuals who maybe can't come to campus because of family, kids, they have another job that they have to go to support themselves to be in school part-time. So I do believe we're actually going to still continue to offer some of our major courses with maybe like one section online if we go back to, I hate to use the word, but normal or semi-normal come fall. So we're actually planning on doing that as well. So that'll help those individuals who need to go part-time and or maybe want to still go full-time but can't do being on campus full-time. So absolutely, once again, it'll just take a little longer. And as I always encourage students, get some of those major courses under your belt. See if you can find a job cleaning out mouse cages and see if you can get your company to help you pay for it. It's always a way to try and save some money.
And I will just jump in and say that with the apprenticeship program, you can start out part-time. However, it is an opportunity to connect you to a full-time job opportunity. So you could start out with that full-time or the part-time education component, which you don't need much experience for. It's very entry level, and then move into the full-time job with an employer who can pay for additional trainings, your education in your associate's degree, bachelor's. That's really the idea, is to get you a full-time job.
With that, I want to be conscious of time. I don't want to keep anybody here too long. So I just want to say thank you to all of the presenters. There are a number of great resources that were shared throughout the entire presentation. So as the recording is shared, we'll be sure to share as many of those resources as we can as well. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.